Previously on Psychology of a Hero, Tony Stark.
He absolutely qualifies for narcissistic personality disorder.
What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
PTSD occurs when you think your world is safe and then you realize that it's not. Now, Tony knows that his world isn't safe, but he also thinks that he's not ever really in danger.
The world is safe for him.
Yeah.
Because he can just build a suit.
Now, suddenly, we're dealing with aliens, we're dealing with wormholes, we're dealing with nukes. I've got a friend who's a god that challenges my whole idea that I'm the most powerful, and suddenly my world doesn't feel safe anymore.
Right.
At the end of Iron Man 3, Tony's in a really good place. He's really solid.
Yep.
He's successfully managed his guilt, he's successfully managed his trauma, and now he's really just Iron Man because the Avengers need him. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't need to be Iron Man anymore.
Right.
And so he's fine until Wanda puts that vision in his head and he sees everybody laying there dead and dying.
You could have saved us.
And it brings everything right back.
Everything right back. And now, the thrilling conclusion of Psychology of a Hero, Tony Stark. Only on Cinema Therapy.
So what does he do? Like, screenplay-wise, what does Tony do when we talk about an Age of Ultron?
He reverts to the mean,
Yeah.
which is not full-blown narcissism, but like, I gotta put a suit of armor around the planet.
Yeah.
And he, enlists Bruce Banner's help. So it's not exactly like he was before.
Yeah.
But
But
he's
Banner's really
reverting
the only
to
one
a
he
lot of-
trusts.
Right.
Like, he'll trust everybody else on a mission kicking ass.
Sure.
But when it comes to, like, actually strategy...
He's not going to go talk to Cap or Hawkeye about, like, hey, help me build a super technological thing that's going to protect the entire planet.
The city is flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
And this is his arrogance still. Even with all his goodness and his virtue, I'm the smartest man in the room.
Yep.
I'll let Banner play with me because he's pretty damn smart too. Mm-hmm. But I'm the one who needs to make the call of how to do this.
Well, and that's even set up in a joke in Age of Ultron where, everybody's trying to pick up Thor's hammer and nobody can do it except we later learn Cap.
Right.
But everybody's trying to do it. And so what does Tony do? He doesn't try to pick it up.
Be right back.
He puts on the suit because he's like, I'm going to cheat this.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out a way around it. And then I love that it cuts to him and War Machine together like, "Rrr."
Just represent, pull.
All right, let's go.
Just represent.
Just represent. Oh, man. I have a lot of issues with Joss Whedon as a person, but his writing is
It's great.
chef's kiss. It's the best writing that is in film.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So, of course, that backfires. His creation takes over the world, or tries to, and causes a lot of death and destruction.
Yeah.
Plot hole that I see that doesn't bother me too bad because I want to just enjoy the show. Tony should be in prison at the end of Age of Ultron.
Who sent you?
I see a suit of armor around the world.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know how he's not. Except
Well, he's really
he's rich, powerful,
and-
and white, so...
Yeah, rich white men in America don't go to prison.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not a plot hole. Maybe that's social commentary.
Whoa. So instead of going to prison, we get to Civil War. And Civil War is another one we're not going to go super in-depth on because
Right.
there's a whole episode just in Civil War.
Oh, man, there's so much. We're gonna just live in the MCU for a while, guys. You enjoy it here.
But Tony's back in his guilt. And now he's
Yeah.
giving away grants to like hundreds of college students or graduate students for their research.
Yep.
What I do like about Tony's arc is what happens in Age of Ultron finally completely breaks him of his egotism.
Yeah.
By the time we get to Civil War, his ego is completely stripped.
Yeah.
Pepper's left him. He completely effed up with his plan to put a suit of armor around the world.
Yep.
Who's going to avenge my son, Stark? He's dead, and I blame you.
And what he says is, okay, I am really smart, and I am really good in battle, but I can't be the one making the calls anymore.
Yeah.
And that is huge for him. And I think often gets overlooked. That's because of Age of Ultron.
It
and
is.
he says, I want to give basically the keys to me to somebody else.
Oh, that's Charles Spencer, by the way. He's a great kid. He wanted to make a difference, I suppose. I mean, we won't know because we dropped the building on him while we were kicking ass.
Well, and the thing that I love, this is a magic trick that the Marvel Cinematic Universe pulled, that Ferguson, McFeely, and the Russo brothers pulled on everybody, is by the time you get to Civil War, there are two opposing... The Civil War is two opposing sides, right? Mm-hmm. One is we need to be reined in, we need to be governed by the Sokovia Accords, and the other is we need to be completely independent and able to do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And on one side is Cap and on one side is Tony, and it is the opposite of anything you would expect
From where
and
they started.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
They absolutely set the table and then knock everything over, and it all works.
Yeah.
And it is the exact opposite of the Tony that we meet.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
And the Steve Rogers that we meet
Yeah.
at the beginning.
That is genius. And the events of Age of Ultron switch Tony to where he's like, someone's got to govern me because I'm out of control. And the
events
eventual
of Winter Soldier
Winter Soldier.
completely invert Cap's worldview to Steve Rogers' worldview, and we end up in this brilliant place where they're on the opposite sides of the issue from where you would expect. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And oh man, it's like, guys, the screenwriting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like people rag on it, like these are popular movies. They're extremely popular movies, and anything popular will always be frowned on by like film critics
By
and
the
the
elites.
intelligentsia.
But there are film snobs who
There
are
are
like,
film snobs who are like, if a thing's popular, it can't be good. This is ingenious. This is incredible writing.
Yeah.
Because it all works and makes sense and it is intuitively correct for the characters.
why are the Marvel movies successful? It's not because they're about superheroes. You make movies about superheroes, a certain percentage of the population shows up because they're super into comic books and superheroes.
Yeah, they'll come.
Why is the MCU so successful? Because they're character driven. And because they're really well acted and really well written. And people who aren't even into superheroes are super into Marvel.
Yeah.
And now they're into
And the
superheroes.
smashy is good.
Smashy, smashy, punchy, punchy.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Going back to Tony's guilt, a lot of us manage our guilt this way where we screw up enough, or at least we perceive ourselves as screwing up enough, and we're like, I can't be trusted with my own decisions.
Right, yeah.
And we often latch onto somebody else. It could be a romantic partner, it could be a parent, it could be a friend.
Could be a therapist.
It's even a therapist, and it's like, please take the keys and just tell me what to do.
Yeah, I am not trusted to drive.
Yeah. And Tony's like, I'm not trusted. I can't be trusted to drive. And with this new guilt comes new trauma. He loses his friends. The Avengers are torn apart. He witnesses his own parents' murder.
Yeah.
And now Tony, who at the end of Iron Man 3 was in a really good place with both guilt and trauma, is neck deep in both of them once again.
Yep.
He tries to manage it by mentoring. He mentors. He's like, I'm going to have someone learn from my mistakes and be a better hero than I was.
I just wanted to be like you.
And I wanted you to be better.
In giving him the Iron Spider suit, it's obvious that he wants to right the wrongs of the past by finding this really smart kid who also has just innate superpowers, and then give him an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna make a better Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna step. Look, he's better than me.
Which
This
I
guy.
loved, by the way, watching in Homecoming, that you have Peter Parker and he's got like his own. It's not Jarvis. What's the?
Is it Karen?
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
watching
yeah.
it because I'm like, oh, that didn't age well.
That's right.
You can call me Karen if you would like.
But he's got a Karen in his brain, and I love Peter Parker, like dealing with like all the Iron Man
Whoa.
stuff.
Activating instant kill.
No.
But no.
Well, I don't want to kill anybody.
Deactivating instant kill.
He is limping along, but he's doing the best he can with mentorship, and he's doing the best he can by he's really hunkering down, committing to Pepper. They're going to get married, and Tony's in a place that a lot of people are, where they have trauma, where they have grief, where they just kind of bury it really deep.
Right.
And they become functional. And, with his mentorship of Peter and with his relationship with Pepper, he's kind of in a good place at the beginning of Infinity War, but a lot of it is just deep inside of him.
Right.
And then he suffers probably the biggest blow of all, which is this.
I don't feel so good.
You're all right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Hurry. I don't want to go. I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Sorry.
Oh, geez, man, you had to show that one.
He kills it. Tell me about the acting both of Tom Holland and RDJ in that?
Well, fun filmmaking fact, that was improvised by Tom Holland on the day.
Yeah.
And he went up to the directors and said, "Hey, look, I think because I'm Spider-Man, I have, my inherent spider strength and stuff. I should hold on longer, and I should really, be afraid."
Yeah.
Because I realize what's happening and I'm holding on.
I have spider strength, but I'm also just a scared kid.
Yeah, and so that performance is one of the most affecting performances in a I mean, think of a modern blockbuster, big mega film, and find me a more weepy scene than that. And I mean, it's Iron Man's funeral. But other than before that, like,
yeah.
if you ever wanted to be in a room of 1,000 people, just weeping openly,
in your face, Titanic.
I'll never let go. I promise.
If you're enjoying this, we've got commercials-free director's cut extended editions of all of our episodes on our low-cost membership site, as well as relationship courses that we have created just for you, growth guides so you can actually have application steps from a licensed therapist for the movies that you watch,
live watch parties with the two of us, Q&As with you where you can ask therapy-related questions,
all sorts of sweet buttery goodness.
Yeah, it's like kettle corn, which you can get from Lisa's Passion for Popcorn. Okay, I'm done.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.
I was seriously like, I mean, everyone else is dusted and they're turning to dust, and we're like, and the audience, you're feeling it with each one. But then when you close on Peter, and he's so scared to die,
he gives it so much emotional weight because it's been up until this point, it's been a science fiction scary thing.
Yeah.
And then he brings home the just hammer blow of like, no, this is what everyone's losing.
And so here's Tony, after all that has happened across all the courses of the films, he has tried to be strong, he has tried to hold the line, be the hero, correct his mistakes, and he's come close to breaking several times, but never quite broke, and came back stronger than ever and learned his lessons, and this finally, he's broken.
Well, and at the beginning of Endgame, he comes back and he is broken.
Yeah, completely.
There's just nothing left.
Tired old mules. I got nothing for you, Cap. I got no coordinates, no clues, no strategies, no options, zero, zip, nada. No trust. Liar.
And this is where Tony effectively retires.
He just hangs it up.
And 5 years later, he's married Pepper, and he's done what a lot of us would do, which is, this isn't worth it anymore. And I'm talking about whatever is hurting us, whatever cause that we have attached ourselves to. I know a lot of people who fight for the rights of a certain group, or they fight for this or they fight for that, and they get in the fray and they get hammered enough that at a certain point they're like,
you hang it up and you move to a cabin and
yeah. But what's beautiful is he's achieved some peace.
You thinking about lunch?
And I love we see from 20 plus films ago.
Got a family?
Yes, and I will see them when I leave here. And you, Stark?
Where Tony lands is where Yinsen pointed him.
No. So you're a man who has everything and nothing.
That his happiness is going to be with a family.
Love you tons.
I love you 3,000.
And here come the crew, and they've got this time travel plan for their time heist.
Time heist? Yeah, time heist.
We're doing a time heist.
Yeah. And they're like, Tony's probably going to be in. He might need a little convincing because there's bad blood between him and Cap. But we got a plan, and I'll bet Tony wants to undo all this just as much as we do. And Tony's like,
nope.
He's like, first of all, it can't be done.
Right.
But second of all, he's scared to try.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't do it. He's like, and Cap says, we have a second chance. And Tony says,
I got my second chance right here, Cap. Can't roll the dice on it.
And so here's Tony, and he figures out time travel. He can make the plan work. But he's finally content. And he's never truly been content. Like he's pursued pleasure and he's had thrills, but he's never been content. And is he going to risk it all? And he has this exchange with Pepper.
3,000. That's crazy. Go to bed, or I'll sell all your toys.
That is exactly how I parent.
It's a competition, but she loves me 3,000.
Oh, does she now?
You were somewhere in the low 600 to 900 range.
This is also exactly how I husband. And,
There's actually truth to this. I've seen this.
What you reading?
It's just a book on composting.
What's new with composting?
Interesting science.
I figured it out.
Compost,
by the way.
And, you know, just so we're talking about the same thing.
Time travel.
What?
I love that she's not quippy anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing and terrifying.
That's right.
We got really lucky.
Yeah. I know.
A lot of people didn't.
No, I can't help everybody.
Sort of seems like you can.
Not to stop. I can put a pin in it right now and stop.
Tony, trying to get you to stop has been one of the few failures of my entire life.
Something tells me I should put it in a lockbox and drop it to the bottom of the lake. You go to bed.
But would you be able to rest?
Wow. A lot of people don't like Gwyneth Paltrow. I love her as Pepper Potts.
She's fantastic.
She's great with RDJ.
So good.
And you compare this moment to Iron Man 1.
I think it's a fair example. I think it's incredibly overpriced.
I need it. Buy it, store it.
And here is a mature, healthy couple in a mature, healthy relationship. And they're stable, you know? Like, as a married couple, they're stable. And I love, she gets Tony, you know?
Well, and he gets her. I mean, he is obviously willing and, I mean, not just willing to sacrifice, but choosing to, you know, put her and their daughter first.
Yeah.
He's choosing it, but she knows.
This speaks to a very powerful couples dynamic. So in Civil War, we learned that Pepper has left Tony because he was going to stop being Iron Man, and then he didn't stop being Iron Man.
Right.
And then, I never stopped. Because the truth is, I don't want to stop. I don't want to lose her. I thought maybe the Accords could split the difference.
He's grown to a point where he actually will stop that for her.
In her defense, I'm a handful.
Because she matters most, right? But like you're saying, she's also come to this place of acceptance. She says, Tony...
Trying to get you to stop has been one of the few failures of my entire life.
But he pushes, like, I will drop it. I will throw it in the lake, and I'll go to bed. And she says...
You won't be able to rest.
Yeah.
She knows.
Tony Stark has a lot of flaws. It's one of the reasons why we love him. But from the moment he realizes that his weapons were doing harm, all the way to the end, his greatest virtue is trying to make things right. And sometimes when you try and make things right, you
make them worse.
Yeah, you make them worse.
Sometimes you make Ultron. Oops.
What's he doing?
So how does Tony ultimately overcome guilt and trauma? By letting go of his ego completely. Like, he's willing to listen to Cap finally.
Stark, you got the perimeter. Anything gets more than 3 blocks out, you turn it back or you turn it to ash. You give me a lift?
Right. Better clench up, Legolas.
To listen to Doctor Strange, to Scott Lang, to Natasha, he accepts their influence, which is a big deal, accepting influence. Instead of trying to be the big man, calling the shots, and he lets them help him. With his guilt, he does everything he can do to make it right, and then he lets go of it, right? It's not going to consume him. With his trauma, he embraces his mortality instead of running from it or hiding from it. So he stops, I mean, I see it as he stops allowing his fear of death to overcome him.
Yeah, he embraces, you know, that death is part of life.
Yeah.
I am inevitable.
I mean, I see it since the first film, he's been trying to do what's right, but he's done so while trying to be invincible and vulnerable, the best. And when he triumphs is when he drops all of that except just doing the right thing. There's no ego, there's no arrogance, there's just courage and the confidence that comes from right action.
And I am Iron Man.
I agree, and I am inevitable.
And I am Iron Man. And
watch movies. I don't want to go. I don't want to go, Mr. Decker. I don't want to go.
You can rest now.